Welcome to another Triathlon podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is another Triathlon podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to another Triathlon podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. We're going to jump into it. This weekend, we had a super weekend of triathlon racing with both a WTCS and a T100 race going on in the same location, as well as an Ironman Pro Series at the 70.3 Zell MC. But before we jump into all of that, check it out if you haven't already. Mana Apparel has opened up their 2026 team applications, which honestly, this has just been an incredible team to be a part of. Both Fede and Josh are on this team as well. And even better, if you go to their social media, they've got a giveaway of over $5,000 from our team sponsors. That's pretty incredible. So go check it out. Definitely share it, tag a friend, apply to the team. Those all get you entries into it, and it's a random draw at the end of the period to see who gets it. But if not, check out the team because it is pretty cool and it's been a lot of fun to train and race with them. But let's jump in with a couple of my teammates here. We got Fede and Josh joining me as always, and I'm Jenna, and we're going to catch up on everything going on with our training and racing. And this time, let's start with Josh. What's going on in your world?
Hey man, what's not going on? Just a lot of running. Although last week was a down week, but I was able to travel to Chicago for the Super Tri race a couple weekends ago, and still hit all my workouts, even with the long days working.
Impressive. Those days event week are just insane, mentally, physically, everything else. So I was super impressed to see you actually got those long workouts in.
It was that trail along the riverfront on Lakeshore Drive is just really awesome, and there's even parts of it too. A lot of it where they've marked it in the 100-kilometer or 100-meter distance. So if you've got a 1K workout or a 400 or an 800, you don't have to go to the track. You can do it right there. So I had the first day I was there. I got there Wednesday. First day I was there, I had 1K repeats on Thursday and was able to knock those out on the trail. I did a little out and back. And then for my long run on Saturday, I had 5 miles on, 2 miles off, 5 miles on, 2 miles off, and was able to do that. I found out from where I started outside our hotel in Grant Park area on Lakeshore Drive, 9 miles north was exactly where our kids race and the super sprint was being held. That was my turnaround point. So I literally got to our event being set up on Saturday morning for the kids race and turned around and said hi to my coworkers and was like, I got 9 miles more to go. Come to find out that a lot of them ran 9 miles back for their running that day. So it's again a benefit of being able to work in the industry. People understand you got to go out and knock out your workout. So I was able to get my 18 miles in, and then right to the expo and Super Tri Pro race and all that stuff. And then my run on Sunday, I was tired. That was I did that after getting up at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning for the sprint and Olympic distance races and for the age group racing. And then I had to do a 5 mile easy recovery run, and man, it was hard. That was probably the worst. Probably the worst run in my entire block for Chicago was that 5 miles after a weekend of Super Tri racing. So yeah, it was that one definitely got to me. And then I was back to normal Monday. We went for a nice easy jog on the lake one more time, and then flew back home Monday night. So yeah back at it.
Super Tri. Is MG okay?
No, it was kind of funny watching the different MGs as I passed him throughout the week. And I was like, and then you see him Saturday night. I was like, he didn't even want to be noticed. And it was like, I mean, man, he was pissed at Morgan Pearson or Morgan Freeman if we want to go with Annie's.
Oh man, yeah. So MG, he kind of manages the Crown Racing team, and unfortunately, they lost their top spot in the series right now. And he is someone who, you know exactly how happy or mad or anything he is. So fun to have on the broadcast because you never quite know what he's going to say, but he's going to give it to you how he's feeling. And I wouldn't want to be a Morgan Pearson Freeman.
No.
And although Morgan was in a good mood, he was cool to chat with over the weekend. So that was nice to see him pop in and do a race and be in it. He just doesn't know how to get out of his shoes while riding the bike. So he had a little tripping moment if you haven't seen that one.
Did he try to just like dismount with his shoes on?
With
Is
the
that
shoes on.
what it
Yeah,
went wrong?
he completely unclipped with his feet still in the
Yeah.
shoes, which, I mean, in Super Tri, that's going to cost you too many seconds, even if he was able to do it, right? He still has
Yeah,
to get
right,
the shoes
yeah.
off. So, yeah, that didn't work out too well for him. And by the third run, he just hung on inside of 90 seconds. But he was able to finish the race. We knew there was going to be a lot of eliminations, and sure enough, there were, because there were a lot of young guns that had never done it before, and it was really, really cool. And a lot of the social around it has been focused on Fanny Salai, the 17-year-old from Hungary. I mean, to be on a podium at 17 years old in any pro race is amazing. But to be on a podium with Jean Lahair and Georgia Taylor Brown, like, that's pretty damn cool. And your dad's right there. And it was really neat to see her raw emotions, like literally feet away from me. So kudos to her and everything she's done. She's had a pretty good season in general. But yeah, just really cool to just be in that atmosphere while training myself and getting kudos, like going up and down the elevators with the pros, and they're like, "Hey, what do you got today?" And just another 18 miles. And they're like, "Wait, you're doing that before work?" I was like, "Yeah." So it was nice to be back last week and into a normal training week. It was kind of a down week, mileage wise. So my first pullback week, and then it'll be pretty much a straight build into taper now. We're inside 6 weeks, so I'll probably have another 4 weeks of hard build up to 22 miles, and then bring it back down the last couple weeks heading into Chicago. But last night was 10 by 1K at 6:10 goal pace, and so just under 4-minute kilometer pace, and was able to hit all those the first 5. And then I decided, I was like, one of the things I've been trying to work on, and my coaches asked me to work on, is not using the watch to know where you're at, and running on a lot of feel. And I knew I was pushing the 6:05, 6:06. Like, I was like right there in the middle. And I had run a 10K a little harder on Monday than she had wanted me to. So I think this was more of like, she put in the workout like to see if she could really prove to me that I went too hard on Monday, and we needed the recovery day. And sure enough, my what I felt was that same pace ended up being like 6:15, 6:17, 6:18 for the last 5 or so. So still really great. I mean, I keep looking at the yearly, like what I was doing this time last year before running a 3:13 in Chicago. And it's like, I'm nowhere close. And I'm like, 30 seconds a mile on a good weather day. Right now, I feel like I'm there, and like, give me some fresh legs. And I know how I've been able to go on race days before. So really excited about that. And I'm running on some really, really tired legs, and to be able to hit these paces and the heart rate not completely go crazy is been a lot of fun. And today I got to swim in an easy recovery run. So it'll be another down day. So these hard days are hard. Yesterday was a hard run, an easy 20-minute warm up bike, and into a strength session. So really trying to just check every box and making sure we stay healthy from here on in.
That is definitely the key, getting close in there. And at that, hitting that peak fitness, is definitely good to listen to your body. And cool that your coach is getting you to kind of dial into that feel a little bit more, because I think too often athletes kind of neglect that. I have an athlete that I coach. Her power meter went just off the rails before one of her races, kind of thing, and there's a little bit of panic at first. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
like, so much of this, you know what these zones feel like. You have good feel. Yes, sometimes it's so good to let go of everything in the head and just go race and ride by feel and not worry about that data and that numbers, and end up being a very good thing. But yeah, it can definitely mess with your head if you get way too reliant on it so that you're just lost without the data.
Yeah, especially like, even if you have heart rate, like you can, like, if you don't have anything else, if you have heart rate and that perceived feeling, like that should be able to get you through on race day. And I actually get happy when, like, one of my athletes that I'm coaching tells me that they lost their data or didn't have their computer or something wasn't working. I was like, well, this was a good lesson to learn how to do the same thing. And it actually happened last night he didn't have access to his bike or whatever it was, and was on a different bike and just didn't really hit the workout because he didn't know where he was supposed to be. I was like, well, we've done that same, and it was just a recovery ride, right? So we use that once or twice a week, and I kind of keep my same scheduling for the athletes, and they know what they're getting. Well, at this point, you should kind of know how the feel is on that ride. Like, you've literally done that ride for the last 6 weeks, so use that knowledge and just go do the ride. And based off of the heart rate data that I saw, he was nowhere near where he should have been. But that's a lesson that we learned, and he'll get better. He's building towards Ironman Florida, so we got time to go.
Awesome. How about you, Fede? What's going on in your world these days?
Yeah, so just like Josh, marathon training in full swing. I was just listening to his workouts, and last week I did 8 by a K, and yesterday it was 10 by a K on the treadmill, and where my treadmill is sitting right now, it gets really, really warm. So I'm definitely pushing and sweating, and there's a couple of people that work out at the same time. And I don't know about you guys, but I get really self-conscious about the noises that I make when I run indoors and there's people around. so so I'm like, oh, please, please, I don't wanna be grunting and yeah. So yeah, been doing that, and body's feeling good. Right now, the reps I'm doing are almost not VO2, but upper threshold. So definitely working hard right now. And right now, threshold here at altitude, it's hitting at like 345 per K, so like 602, 605 minute mile. And it feels like work, especially indoors and on the treadmill. And this is something also that I tell my athletes, that rate of perceived exertion indoors oftentimes feels harder than running outside. And like you were just mentioning, Josh, whenever I work out indoors, I usually go by feel and what I sort of know my body feels while running at certain paces. So I just don't look at the pace on the treadmill. I just go by feel or heart rate, or even power as well. And it's a very useful tool to know your body, just in case something fails, like you were just saying. Just because also indoors paces are weird. Like, oftentimes a treadmill is not calibrated as the next treadmill, and it's just and people get like a lot of, like, in their heads, like, oh, I need to hit this space, I need to hit this space, and really your body has no interest in knowing what pace you're running at. It just knows it's running hard or slow or moderate for X amount of time. So that's what I keep telling myself, and what I tell my athletes. Hey, your body doesn't care if you're running a 6 minute mile, 8 minute mile. It just knows you're running and that you're putting certain amount of stress to your body. So just so just hit your paces, trust your body, and yeah, when you go outside, you're gonna be surprised that the paces that you thought were probably impossible to hit for like a tempo run outside, it'll be easier. So, well, at least that's what I'm telling myself,
Yeah,
that the
especially
paces are
on a
gonna feel
track.
easier.
Especially
Yeah.
on a track, you get a good track and a good day. Like, yes, I was dealing with some headwinds yesterday too. I was like, so it was like I had already done mile and a half, 2 mile warm up, whatever it was, but it was like the other piece you have to battle is your brain. And I was like 200 meters into the first 1K, and I was like, this is not going to work. I still have over 9.5 of these to go, and I was like,
Yeah.
but then it was like, nope, my coach put this on the damn schedule to see if I would fail this damn thing, and I'm going to get through it. And thank God she did, because I probably would have done maybe 8 by 1K or slowed down earlier. And that mental piece is huge come race day. And if you have those sessions, even if you don't hit the pace and you get through the workout and do as best you can, those wins are huge too.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely.
Did you sign up for your bus and your expo packet pickup and all that stuff, Fed? for New York?
New York.
Yeah.
I got the email and I was like, what is this?
Yeah, you got to do that today, I think. Is the last day.
Okay. Right.
Otherwise, they just give you whatever. But I'm on like the 5 a.m. bus from the library over to Staten Island. Yeah.
Thank you for telling me, because I got the email and I was like, probably just it's sponsors or whatever. So just I'm gonna look at it.
It's important. Yeah, I'm gonna pick up my bib on Thursday night, and then the bus I'm doing the race morning at 5 a.m.
This is very important to have friends like this because for our viewers and our listeners, Jenna and I are the kind of people who never look at the athlete's guide, who just go like, what time's athlete pickup? And so having people like Josh is really handy in times like this.
Totally. That was like main 70.3. Like all of us in the house were kind of that last minute, like me, Rod, and Philip and stuff. We're just like, oh, we'll figure it out as we go and stuff. But luckily, like lives there and had done the race, so he's like telling us all the times and everything to get set, or else we would have been like, we have an idea.
New York's just like, I want to enjoy it and celebrate, so I wanted to make sure everything was kind of dialed in for that. Like Chicago, I'm like, oh crap, do I have this? Do I have that? Like I just ordered my race shirt through the charity today, and like I had totally missed those emails, but I did. I'm gonna have a little bit of imposter syndrome in Chicago though. I just they upgraded me to the Corral A, like first waves. Like I'm gonna be up there with the dudes. So it's like it's gonna be. I don't know. I'm gonna have to get over that mindset of watching people pass me for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then just settle into my pace.
That's the hardest part when you're like surrounded by everyone. Just kind of keep the excitement down. It's like, okay, some of these guys are going to be going sub 2:30 kind of deal. So don't.
Yeah, nuts.
Else you'll be going 4 hours instead of sub 3.
Yeah, no bonking on in Chicago. That's the goal. Like I know, I only need a couple extra minutes just to know I have a true BQ. Right, like this year going into. Like in the next week or so, we're going to find out if my 2-minute and 2-second buffer is good enough for Boston next year. Chicago should be my way to be like, I don't have to worry about 2027. I have a time that's good no matter what they drop it. So that's the end goal. Sub 3's there, and I really feel like it's attainable at this point, which is insane.
Completely forgot about that again. That you mentioned my Taiwan time would be a Boston fire. I should really look into that.
Yeah, considering they're about to announce the times, it's
yeah. I know. One of these days I'll do Boston. it's never gotten me quite fired up enough. I think Chicago.
Hey, Henry's coming to do it next year. Come on now.
Gotta see Henry. That guy's such a character.
Henry. Our Henry, is it the same Henry we're thinking about?
Yes.
Yeah.
He just announced on social media that he's coming to Boston next year.
Nice. The hand dog. There we go.
Mana, because some of the characters and the chat and everything, there's always a Josh in the group chats with different events that we do who knows all the details and reminds you what. But there's some very fun and entertaining characters on the crew that even in a team of 5, everyone knows.
And speaking of the community too, like that was the other part about being in Chicago. There was a whole bunch of Mana people racing, and Hope won the super sprint. And she came back and she finished second in the Olympic female. And then Jack Brownlee was there having a good day. He did the triple challenge. So it was just really cool to see the Mana kits and be at work and still get to hang out with those guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. I don't know if you guys saw, but last year we won the overall rankings in Division 2, which was very, very cool. Just we've got so many athletes out there crushing it. So much so that this year we're in Division 1 and kind of fighting for the top step there. So I know we talk a lot about the team, but it's just made such a big impact on all of our training and racing experience. We're just a little bit biased, just a teeny bit.
For sure. How about you, Jenna? How's the Kona work going? Because that's like the same as Chicago. So you're inside 40 days too.
5 weeks out, which is crazy. Yeah, it's been a little bit more hectic with life stuff. My little guy just started grade 6 today, which is
wow.
I just
Hey, mine's a senior. Come on, it's like ridiculous right now. We just did college applications last night. It's insane around here.
That's
So
fair.
I get you.
Can't even imagine. Yeah, but trying something a little bit different with the Kona build up here. So I haven't done near as many kind of long 20-mile runs and stuff, just because of somewhere travel and everything has been kind of up and down. But the last few runs, we've been really focusing on getting some hill training in. Because a lot of people don't realize just how hilly that Kona run is. Like it's 1,000 feet of elevation gain in there, which is nothing to sneeze at, really. When you're looking at the end of an Ironman, that one, you're going to feel that 1,000 feet a lot more than in a marathon, just because you're going into it on pretty tired legs so far. So,
And that heat for sure.
oof, yeah, definitely does not help. And it's like the hilliest, like hilly right from the start, kind of going up and down a leahy. So it definitely helps just to build up some of that resistance. And one of those things is kind of a reminder for me that it doesn't often take a ton of training. Like early this year, did a ton of hill training, like just stupid hill training with 15% grades and stuff. And that ended up like a breakthrough marathon in Taiwan. And then with Kona, we're just kind of finding the balance point between getting some speed, but getting a lot more of the hill work, because Ironman running isn't fast. Like it's really, if you look at your of what you can run a marathon compared to what you're running a marathon in an Ironman, you don't need that top end kind of speed so much as you need that resiliency to the damage that's being done throughout the rest of the run. So did 20 miles last weekend and another 20 miles this weekend. And last weekend got about just under 1,000 feet of elevation, I think, just doing some running up and down this ridge. And I was, by the end of that, I was like hobbling. I was full on Ironman shuffle, like hips and everything were tightened up. We're like, okay, this is not great. But then this weekend did another 20 miles, but with the first 6 miles kind of flattish. And then the rest of the run, basically up and down this ridge, it was like just over a half mile with 120 feet of elevation with each rep. So it's kind of like tempo up, easy down, just back and forth the remainder of the run, and end up with something like 1,600 feet of gain. But I felt so much better after that run than the one a week before, like even with way more elevation, a lot more steep. And it's a good reminder that sometimes you just need a couple tastes of these more extreme or more challenging workouts just for your body to kind of figure it out again. If you have a solid base, it doesn't mean every run has to be like stupid, crazy hilly, but just getting a bit of that stimulus really can make a big difference in how you feel with some of those longer, harder runs.
We've
Absolutely.
at pullback week, we added some hills work too, just knowing that the mileage was going to be down. Let's work on some strength and lower impact. And a lot of the hill work can be lower impact too. And work on your drive and your stride. So I did it was a speed workout with, I think it was like a minute 30 hill sprint. And then that was during the week. And then at the end of my long run, I did 8 by 15-second hill sprints up like a 5% grade after doing a 15-mile long run. So just add some of that stimulus in that you're talking about to get the body used to it while it's tired and keep the form right. So it's definitely, I've felt it in like the regular flat work. And we all know Chicago's like one of your hills is like the entire Chicago course.
Yeah, but just having resiliency makes a big difference for sure.
That's awesome. And I think it's really important that you're mentioning this, Jenna, just because a lot of people think that the biggest limiter when it comes to Ironman racing is speed, but it's really not. It's that resistance to fatigue and the muscular endurance that you can sustain for the later stages of the marathon. And obviously, hills are not fun; they hurt. But I think when you're preparing a race such as Kona, you need those key sessions and forget about the pace, forget about everything. It's all about getting the repetition and time on the heels and on knowing how your legs feel after 16, 17, 18 Ks of running while tired. I think those are the sessions that actually make or break your preparation. Obviously, consistency is key, but those sessions are super important just to know how you're going to respond to them.
100%. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right there. And actually, speaking of hills, there was an announcement that kind of set the triathlon world a tizzy. And I know a few athletes that I coach were a little concerned, but we just had
Marbella.
the Ironman 70.3 World Championships in Marbella, the course announced, and people were pretty surprised by the elevation gain on that thing. And not gonna lie, absolutely a beast. That course is nothing to sneeze at.
4,000 feet, something like that.
Yeah, let me pull it up here. If you guys are looking, so I actually did a blog about how to descend on your tri bike with some hills like that, because that is probably going to be, you have to have the fitness to go up, but on a course like that, there's some serious downhill and you can gain or lose like minutes, 10, 50 plus minutes if you're not comfortable descending. So if you want to read that, go head over to jennasayer.com. I've got a blog up about it. It just talks a little bit more about the geometry of the bike and why it's different on a tri bike compared to a regular bike. But Marbella has 5,857 feet of elevation in a 70.3. Like, that is more
5,000.
insane than the hilliest Ironman courses, really over half the distance. Like, that's more over the distance. Like, it's crazy. And I'm
Worse
actually
than St. George, worse than Oceanside, worse than Lake Placid, one loop. I mean, like that's crazy.
And I'm surprised
Oh,
they
that
came.
is a lot.
Yeah. Like, so
I was just doing
1,700.
I was just doing the conversion in
Yeah.
to meters.
So, like, I'm surprised they came out with that announcement so late. There had to be something like permits or something holding them up, or maybe they had to make a last minute change with the course,
Yeah.
because if you're looking at their core audience, especially like how 70.3 qualifications were done all last year and stuff, there's going to be a lot of athletes who it changes their perception of the race drastically, or they're not prepared
Yeah.
to do something like that. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think when you first saw this?
I said, thank God I'm doing Nice. Like that might even be easy. I got a year to prepare no matter what. I know it's going to go up, right? Marbella was a little bit more shocking and late to the game. Nice, I know I'm going up and I know I'm coming down.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's so yeah. Sorry for everyone going to Marbella. But yeah, find somewhere to practice your descending. Read Jenna's article. I read it. It's a really good, a lot of good tips in there. So yeah, it's it'll be fun to watch. It'll be great to see how the pros. It's going to be a huge factor in the pro race when we get to Worlds.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of blowback they've gotten from it, because I definitely know a number of the athletes I'm coaching for it are a little concerned, because there's not a lot of places, especially if you're training in North America, like there's not a lot of places that you can get kind of big descents that are windy and twisty like the European roads. It's just not the same. So hopefully they'll have really good road closures and we won't see some of the sketchiness we saw in like Nice last year, where there were cars on the course. You don't want to be descending on roads like that with traffic on the course.
No, I mean, it's one thing in the pro race, but in an age group race, God no. That's scary, crazy, dangerous. I think Ironman in general is just doing things right now. So they're getting a lot of free passes like, oh, I get to go to Marbella, I'm racing in World Championships. And that's, I guess I'll have to deal with the course. And you're probably not going to get too much backlash. Again, it's that type of mentality of the people who have already qualified anyways, for the most part. Now, Marbella is that last year's model and the previous year's model. So there might be some more slot downs that you won't see going forward that are there. But I think Ironman is just in a good position overall right now with their user base and us athletes, that you get the T100 who literally changed the course weeks ahead of French Riviera, and people thought they were going to be doing the same course as the pros, and they changed it. And again, that's permits, but that, I mean, like, or change the entire location. So if you're talking apples to apples, I think Ironman's doing a little bit better when it comes to course selection and race profiles, and as opposed to the T100 and getting the age groupers bought into what they're doing. So
I will say this makes me so much more excited about the pro race, though, because especially the Ironman, like 12-meter draft rule, this makes that less of an impact and less of an issue, because they are going to be doing so much climbing that doesn't come into play near as much. So that's going to make the pro race so much more exciting, and probably favorite.
Well, I mean, how does it favor Lionel? I mean, like, that's the big question, because that's literally his target now at this point this year, is to become 70.3 world champion. And man, the guy just started running again this week. So
It's tough. How much can you do in that short of a time frame, like getting back running, um, when there's so much talent at the top of the field these days? Like, it's not a case of it's an open race, and there are definitely some 70.3 specialists that are going to be going fast. I'd love to see Lionel up there, but the time to get running again seems like it's pretty tight.
and he's going to go in heavier than he's probably ever been to a 70.3 race with a ton of hill climbing. And, typically in his mind, it's been like, how light can I get and still push power and come out of it injured. So yeah, it'll be an interesting one, but it's certainly one that he's got on his target. And then obviously he'll try and get qualified for Kona next year and hopefully be healthy to do that and give it one more shot.
Yeah, and if you guys haven't seen, he did announce that he isn't going to be doing the Ironman World Championships in Nice. It's just too close to race day with his return to running. So kudos for that, kind of recognizing that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
Yeah, no Lionel, no Trevor Foley, just backed out as well. He still hasn't recovered from Lake Placid completely yet either.
Crazy. Yeah, we're starting to see that injury list just get bigger and bigger in here, which is unfortunate because there's some big names that'll be missing out on it. And we're 2 weeks out now already. That's insane. Or week and a half.
Not even, yeah. Not even.
And well, let's dive into some of the racing that went on this weekend. Because it was a super weekend of racing with the WTCS and T100 racing in the same location. And first off, I have to say, I like this. I like having the WTCS and the T100 spot. And I think it took them a little while to play up that whole super weekend thing. Like, this should have been a thing they were talking about constantly leading into it. It seems like in the last couple of days they started to, but it was pretty cool to have like the age groupers, the different distances, all the pros in there, and a couple athletes who are just crazy enough to try to do the double. So let's jump into what happened. Fede, do you have the rundown of race day for the T100? Let's start with.
Yeah, let's start with the T100. And also, I think it's a really cool idea to bring together the short course and the long course, especially because of the fans. People get to see two races, and it just makes the event that much better. But yeah, we had let's start with the men. On the men's side, we had Hayden Wilde taking the win over Yelagins. So it was a run battle, just 22 seconds separating these two. And on third place, Samuel Dickinson from Great Britain, which I don't want to say it's a surprise, but it's not like this big name or household name. So it was really cool to see someone different on the podium.
A wild card too, right? There haven't been too many.
Yeah. Exactly. And just incredible racing. And everybody, it seems to me that everyone racing T100 or 70.3 Ironman, their attention to detail, especially on the bike aerodynamics wise, it's just everybody stepping up their game. So I can see where the sport is going in that direction, and the sky's the limit. I think Hayden is being coached now by a Team UAE coach on the bike. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting couple of years to see how that develops.
Yeah, so it sounds like he has a swim coach, a run coach, and a bike coach, like that have coached incredible athletes in their respective sports. So that's going to be a challenge to balance the training load, but you can't fault him because it is working. And this French Riviera course, it was really cool to see that it was one loop instead of their traditional laps and laps around, and it had a serious bit of climbing in there. And Hayden just pulled away in the last little while along with Rico Bogan, and they made some distance on that bike. And then Hayden gets out on the run, and he's in cruise control. Like, I don't know if you guys watched the men's race and that
smiling and laughing.
Adding on the side.
Chatting with Georgia Taylor Brown is like, and then he's like, oh, let me look at Yella. Oh, he's still too far away.
Yeah.
For a second, it looks like Yella Keens is like sprinting to try to catch Hayden, and Hayden's just chatting, smiling, kind of going along. And then he like sees on a turnaround, he's like, okay, he's getting a little close. I'll pick it up a little bit
I'll
here.
pick it up a
Yeah,
little, yeah.
yeah.
Like,
Would
he made it easy.
Very easy. But I don't know if you guys saw there was like they were on the descent, Hayden and Rico, and Rico has like no fear at all, or I think he has like nine lives like a cat. He was just zooming on the descent, and I think there was a moment there where Hayden was like, "Bro, we want to win. We don't want to get ourselves killed here." So
Well,
kudos to Rico for not showing fear on those descents.
Just
kudos to Yella Geens for not dying. Because
Also, yes.
when his bike completely started wobbling on the
Ooh.
really the edge of the road, and it was a guardrail and had gone after that. So, man, that was a close one. So that shows you how tight that descent was and how fast it was too. Because he was, I don't know how he held on to that one. There's been some pretty cool bike videos. It could be another social media post of the week, but there was one in a crit race or something. A guy like went up on his front wheel and was able to move his bike away from a crash in front of him and navigated a crit crash on his front wheel, endo style, like around. But that's what I thought of when I saw Yellow. I was like, wow. No wonder why he was trying to run to finish that race as well as he did.
Yeah.
Man. But it's just like, it's crazy to see the dominance of Hayden in
Yeah,
this,
it
especially
is.
back from that injury where it took him out completely. He lost a little bit of time on the swim, but not a ton. He went without did he go without a swim skin? Was that Hayden?
I think he had a swim skin.
I think he went without one, and so he could get the time. Oh no, that might have been the W. Wait, what am I thinking?
In the sprint race.
Maybe. Yeah, but anyways, so it's just crazy to see how well he's doing in there coming back, and that he had we'll talk more about the WTCS, but his plan was finish this race and then go race the WTCS. So I think that's why he was kind of cruising in the finish. And to say that you can cruise it into the finish at a T100 is just absolutely ridiculous.
And be 3 for 3 this year. And I mean, like we were talking about Martin Van Riel last year, and this is another level up. And like, I don't think anyone's concerned about Yella catching Hayden this year. And because you're talking Hayden without a swim yet. And he's not going to be front pack swimmer, but he's going to be on the back feet of the front pack when he's ready to go. And that's a huge difference. Take another 20, 30 seconds. Now he's riding front pack. He's drafting out as he gets settled, and then he goes off the front. That's scary come Qatar.
Yeah, and him and Rico Bogan had kind of the fastest bike times in there. Rico Bogan took the fastest overall time by 1 second, so it was definitely up there too. You know, kind of one of the funny ones to look at was Morgan Pearson had the fastest swim, fastest run, and ends up in 6th place in there. So definitely can see where he has a little bit of time to improve on the bike there, but
and he fell off the bike early too. Like if you were watching the leaderboard, it was like all of a sudden he went from leading to 7th within the first like 5K of the bike. I mean, those guys are throwing down some serious, and you knew Morgan knew it. He was sprinting coming out of the water and getting to his bike in T1. So
yeah,
I don't know. We might, after this Olympic block, we might see Morgan in some swim run races and adventure racing.
Yeah, and the other kind of surprising thing was Sam Long. What do we think's going on there? I think he ended up something like 15th and just had not a great bike ride altogether. So I think, like, is he that he's put in a big training block for the Ironman World Championships in a couple weeks in Nice, or is climbing just not his jam? Like, what do we think here, guys?
So he had breakfast with Bob is already started for Nice. So I listened to So he had Mark Allen on. He's had Matt Marquardt, and he's had Sam Long are the ones that I've been able to watch. And Sam was saying he's really using the T100 as the reward to back up the risk he can take at an Ironman Nice and some of these other events. He hedged his bet by taking a contract, challenging himself and really mentally trying to overcome the fact that he's dead last and like for 50% of the race. And like that, it's you can see it's wearing on him. Like, I don't think he expected it to be this bad, especially now that he's working with Greg Hopper on the swim and or had been working with Greg, and you figured the swim would be a little better. And he and Colin Zuck were like first Aussie exit. It was like that race was over. They didn't have a chance. And then they're going to lose more without the draft on the second loop. But it sounds like Sam is using that to really be able to send it at a race like Nice. Because look, if he goes and it doesn't work, oh well, I've got a T100 contract to fall back on, and my sponsors are still going to be happy, and yada yada, and I can build into next year. But if everything goes well at Nice and he comes down that hill and is there within reach of the podium going into the run, he knows he's got a chance, and that's a risk worth taking when you're getting paid six figures already anyways.
Yeah, fair. No, that's a good question. And that's where I think Sam Long, for a long time, the fun in the T100 of having him there was he would be so far down in the swims, but then he was all in on like having the fastest bike and run to make it back to the front. And I guess we just haven't seen that, which makes it a little
He's not making up any ground on the bike at all.
He lost a ton on the bike this weekend. So hopefully that was just at the end of a big training block and he'll be ready to fire at the World Championships, because that is going to be more distance for him to make up on the run and bike if he is feeling good and ready to fire come race day there and tackle some big hills. It is cool to see that he went so early to get used to some of those climbs and descents and really putting in a concerted effort to get used to riding on hills and roads like that, because it is a whole different experience to riding in North America.
Yeah, totally.
It's definitely interesting to see all the pros that are over there, how long they've been there, the different training methods going into Nice this year, and how focused these guys are to take Patrick down, to take Laidlow down. Like there's a lot of attention at Worlds this year before we go back to Kona for the longest time ever. So it's really interesting. Sam's an interesting character, as we all know, and that's what he is. He's a character, but he can race when he's got his mindset to it. And it sounds like T100 was literally just a paycheck. And
yeah. Well, let's jump into the women's side of things here, because this was an awesome run to watch on the women's side. It had you engaged to the very last minute. So, Fede, what went down in the women's race?
Yeah, we saw, like Jenna was just saying, an incredible race. Like back and forth, stretching the rubber band. But I was really surprised and happy to see Ashley Gentle having the fastest run of the day and taking away the victory, holding someone like Paula Finley. I mean, Paula rode like 2 minutes faster than Ashley. And but the way Ashley was running, there was no way anyone was going to catch her. And yeah, Ash took the win. Especially, I think it's good for her because she hadn't had the best results lately. So I think it's really cool for her to take the win, especially over a distance where we know she is like one of the best that has ever done this 100K distance. Paula, second place, surprisingly not with the fastest bike split. That was from a Swiss Alani Siffert. That was the fastest. I was like, whoa, this is something. Yeah.
She's the one that did it at Roth too, right? She's like 65, 70 cadence, Brett Sutton, coached athlete.
Just grinding. Yeah.
Long cadence, slow cadence, just grind away, never break arrow.
But forget you have to run with those legs too.
Exactly. Just and she had also the fastest T2. So she had the fastest bike split and the fastest T2. So kudos to her. But there's no way with that sort of if you had the fastest bike split and Ash Gentle has the fastest run split, I think 90% of the time Ashley is gonna take away the win. I think the time when the Uber bikers run like bike away from the pack are long gone. You need to bike hard and run super hard. So and then India Lee taking third. She's being so consistent over these races. Just incredible racing from her. Smart racing, not flashy, not nothing. Just staying true to. She reminds me a lot of Rudy Van Berg when she races. So just staying true to herself, just knowing her paces, and always having super good results.
She's another one that runs off of power too, right? I believe. I think we learned that after she won Miami last year. And yeah, I think it certainly clearly a veteran race. I mean,
Yeah.
the Mines definitely won this one, and it was sad to see GTB have a great swim bike. I mean, she was right there with Jessica Learmonth on the swim, and Learmonth again. I mean, girl's a powerhouse swim biker, and
Like, can we talk about that swim for a
she
second
was
here?
gone on the swim.
She, like, for a while, GTB held on to her, but she just absolutely demolished everyone in the swim with it. Was it? Oh, I don't have her swim time here, but yeah, she just like she was off the front so far. It was crazy to see, and in that, like in a T100 race, yeah, there's some serious swimmers there, like legit athletes. And this wasn't the usual strength of field that we see, but to make up that much time on everyone is seriously impressive. And then just keep it going on the bike until Siffert kind of caught up.
Yeah, and her and Georgia were way out in front too. So like Jess had a huge lead, Georgia had a big lead, and to the real chase pack of everyone into T1. But sounds like Georgia's got some stomach issues that she knows she has, and can't figure out the fueling right yet at that distance. And when she does, that's scary because she was right there looking pretty good for the first half of that run, I would say. And it wasn't until she started dealing with the stomach issues that you could see Paula start to pull her in, and obviously we all kind of saw Ash is going to run through the field if GTB broke down, and that did happen. But that's a good thing for the future of her life in this distance too. I think she's going to be somebody to reckon with in the next year or two.
Yeah, and it was good to see her have like a drama-free race outside of like stomach issues and stuff, but especially after London where you got the flat tire, dropping nutrition, all of that stuff. At least it was good to get a shot to see what she's like at that distance. And yeah, a couple more tries at it. And I think Georgia Taylor Brown is definitely going to be someone to watch out for. And just impressive going from the super tri distance to the T100 and like
she's not done either because she's got 7 races in 7 weeks. Super Tri was the first one, then T100. So she's got another 5 weeks of racing. So she's on Cam Wurf's schedule right now.
Race to fitness schedule.
Yeah.
That is absolutely crazy. Yeah, that's really fun to watch. And I will say I was kind of wondering how the broadcast would go with having a one loop course opposed to their traditional laps around. Obviously, it's a lot easier to capture the athletes when you have laps going round and round and round. But I thought they did a fantastic job. Like we got the different views. They also, for this race, ran the men's race and the women's race at the same time with the men starting off and then the women behind. There was, although that's one suggestion, I think it was Pro Tri News, where they're talking about they should do it like they used to do some of the races over in the US, where you have a kind of a calculated time, the difference between the men and women, and then you have the male race, the female race, but then you have the race to the finish for the overall winner. So that would give another cool talking point, like say the women a 20-minute head start kind of deal. You have the men's race going on, but then you also have this race for the person who wins it overall. And I heard them that, and I thought that would be just incredible for commentary, for another thing to talk about, especially if you have a race where there's like a Taylor Niv off the front running miles ahead. Then she's still trying to win the overall instead of, just within her own race.
I think there's a marathon that they do that in. And I don't know if it's Berlin or there's I believe it might even be a major marathon where the women start first and they get whatever distance it is. And it's like, what mile are the men going to catch? Maybe the LA marathon. I forget what it is, but it's a bigger marathon. But it has that same concept. Like how long can the women hold that lead up front?
Yeah, they used to have a triathlon in America that did that same thing too. And it's just fun to add that additional, I guess, talking point.
Yeah. Especially when you're talking 20 athletes, like you're not talking like a big field of people coming through.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then I don't know if you guys, so I actually tried out, I didn't listen to the traditional, well, I listened to the usual commentary first like hour and a bit. And they were doing well there, and it was cool to see all the split screens and stuff. But I went over to the Triathlon Hour commentary for a bit to see what they were going to bring that was kind of different there. So they had Jack Kelly, Joe Skipper, and
Greg Harper
on that one, right? And I will say they were pretty entertaining with like the chat back and forth and stuff. I think that crew definitely knows what they're talking about and can have some Good chat. The one thing I will say, it was about 80% men's race, 20% women's race in there. At some points, there were some changes in the women's race, like passes happening in big moments. And they were talking about the back of the swim pack, men's and do and stuff. And another point talking about like some bike stuff. And it's like, okay, like there's still 2 races going on here. So if they it out a little bit better, I think it would be good. Obviously, they know the men's race a lot better because you got 2 professional males in there that are racing with these guys. But that would be kind of my one complaint there. Other than that, it was good to have a different perspective. That was a little bit more low key, just kind of guys chatting opposed to structured commentary that had to hit certain key points. I don't know, which one did you guys listen to?
I started with the quad box T100 regular broadcast, and then I switched over, and this is like as I was going to sleep, and then I rewatched it all like the next morning. But I switched over to the triathlon hour, and that was when they were having the audio issues at the very beginning of the race. So it was like you couldn't hear Greg Harper, you couldn't hear the most of the announcing of it. So I switched back and then turned it off. And then the next morning when I woke up, I watched the race from where I had left off, and that's where Jack and his broadcast had corrected their audio, and I pretty much watched the whole race, both men's and women's with the triathlon hour, and I thought it was a really good coverage. And it's literally like the 3 of us sitting around like we're doing right now, watching a race, and I think Jack was technically in like the T100 offices, but the rest of them were at their houses watching the race, like Daniela Reef does, and announcing the race. So it was a good perspective. I think we've all seen some of these alternative formats, like when Joe Skipper was on the ground for that Ironman race. That was just a different, fresh breath, and like this is what the sport needs right now. And the younger this sport gets, the different avenues that we need to get it out there and broadcast it and push content. So kudos to how that ever went down, if that was all Jack's doing or not. But it was definitely worth the watch, and they were just kind of following along with the broadcast. It's not like they had their own broadcast that they could play with or anything, right? So I think if they really wanted to dial that down, they would have an alternative broadcast like you have with the Manning brothers in football, where it's like that broadcast is made for them. And that's something the T100 might be able to figure out. I don't know.
Well, we've had lots of fun chatting T100, but there was another race going on the same weekend in the same location. And you have this super weekend. So Fede, why don't you tell us about the WTCS French Riviera?
Yeah, that was also an awesome race to watch. And like we were just mentioning, really cool to see 2 races at the same venue. So, and we had Hayden Wilde changing bikes and changing tri-suits to do both races. And he's getting slow. He just ran a 13:59. So I think the long distance, it's getting to him. No, just kidding. I mean, I'm just amazed how he can go back and forth, and just he's. I think he's gonna be one of those guys when his career is all said and done. We're gonna be talking about one of the greatest to ever do it. So the way he bounced back from one race to the other, just incredible. Unfortunately, not enough to be on the top step of the podium or be on the top 3, but like that was a special mention to Hayden Wilde. Incredible racing. But we had another guy from the Southern Hemisphere taking the win, Matt Hauser, who has been dominating the short course scene lately. I think he has nailed short course right now, running a 13:36. We know he's an incredible swimmer, and people don't see how strong he is on the bike just because he races smart. He's not the type of athlete who wants to show his bike strength and gets the ego boost of dropping everyone. He's like, okay, I'm going to make you guys work for me, and then I'm going to run away from everyone. Matt Hauser took the win. Vasco Vilaça from Portugal in second place, again running a 13:40, and Miguel Hidalgo from Brazil with a slow 14:04, slower than Hayden's run. So if you wanna be on the top step of the podium, long were the days of 15-minute 5K was a thought of fast running. Now you need to be sub 14 or you're gonna be way, way behind.
Unreal. And what's cool to see is like we had some of the big hitters. We had the Hayden Wildes. We had Alex E in this race, which didn't even get mentioned. And those are two athletes who we typically see at the front. Now they've got other focuses this year, but it was cool to see that to be at the top step of these WTCS races, you have to be focused and primed for them for sure. It's not a case of Hayden and Alex are just so superhuman they can jump in after not doing it for a while and take the win overall. Although I don't know if Hayden hadn't raced the T100, who knows?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it was cool to see Hauser. He really seemed to take like a leadership role in this race, like getting the group organized on the bike, kind of getting everyone to pull through and stuff. And he put in a lot of work at the front of that bike, kind of pulling everyone away. So that was cool to see that he's making those wins happen instead of just kind of sitting back and hoping they do. So it's, no surprise that he's dominant right now with that kind of setup.
And still kudos to, Alex in 9th and Hayden in 11th, like Fede said. These guys are not focused on sprint distance WTCS racing right now. And they just popped in and dropped in a 9th and 11th, and Hayden literally after doing 100K the day before. So pretty impressive to our two stalwarts that we're used to seeing and we'll see in 2028 most likely. So yeah, it was a really cool day. And again, everyone's how you can't doubt Matt Hauser this year. Like we kept like someone's gonna get him at some point, and Vasco has always been one of the guys, and Vasco pushed, and they were there neck and neck, and Matty was able to pull away from him.
That's always fun to see, like each person kind of making their pushes, trying to go out the front a little bit, and just testing each other.
Yeah.
That makes it a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah.
Pretty similar
love
on the women's race too.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say that I love the way Vasco races. He is a gutsy racer. He is never afraid of pushing. He is willing to risk finishing last for finishing first. And I just love the way he races. And I think this is something short course has that the longer stuff probably doesn't have as much of. The gutsiness and the willingness to risk it all for a win. I think this is why short course is super exciting, and like Super League, short course, Olympic distance, it's something that keeps the racing exciting, and it makes up for the lack of challenging courses, so to speak, in this sort of races.
Definitely missing some of those challenging courses from the past. Like that Bermuda course was absolutely epic. Right? Been some cool ones over the years, but yeah, right now it's definitely a lot more cones and flat courses.
Yeah. Nonetheless exciting, but the excitement, it's brought to you by the athletes, not the courses.
Yeah.
How about the women's side?
Yeah.
What was down there?
Yeah, on the women's side, again, another person who's dominating the short course scene, Olympic champion Cassandra Beaugrand taking the win with a blazing fast 15:19. Second place, Jeannie Leher from Luxembourg, and in third place, Leonie Perriot, again from France, and Emma Lombardi from France in fourth, Beth Potter in fifth place. We had the likes of Taylor Spivey, Ana Godoy from Spain, Lisa Terj. So a stacked field, but then again, we know Cassandra is on another level right now, feeling that Olympic win. I think she's going to be elite for the next Olympic cycle again.
She's very similar. The French women. And by the way, Jeanne Leher used to be a French woman too. Yeah. She just switched over to Luxembourg. So it could have been 1, 2, 3, 4. I wish Jeanne Leher could see what we saw on the broadcast, because she knew she would have known she was done. Like, because Cassandra was just sitting in behind her, and like Jeanne Leher was working harder and was working harder as the run went on, and Cass was just sitting back, and you could tell like she had another gear coming, and sure enough she did, and waited until the blue carpet to do it, but she turned it on. And but again, Jeanne Leher is now, that's 2 podiums she won in Chicago. She then backed it up with a week later at WTCS French Riviera with a second place. So she's definitely in form, and certainly looking to grab another podium later in the year, but she's off to a good season.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
special mention to Barbara Riveros from Chile. This woman is ageless. I mean, I think she's been racing like forever. She has 119 WTCS starts.
Wow.
So crazy, crazy. And yeah, she seems to be always there and mixing up with 70.3s. And I don't think she's the type of athlete who we're going to see make the full jump to the full distance and be good at that. I think her love is in the short course. But yeah, it's awesome to see every time I start to see the start lists and see the birth dates of these athletes. All of them are in the 2000s, and the random one in the the random one in the 80s. I'm like, oh, who's that? And yeah, it's always Barbara.
Seriously impressive being at that level in the short course.
Yeah.
Well, we had one other race go on this weekend, a little bit lower, I guess not as much on people's radars, but we always love watching some of those 70.3s going on in Zell MC. So, Fede, why don't you run down kind of the winners there?
Yeah.
Pro Series race, though.
Right.
It almost seemed like it wasn't treated as a Pro Series race.
It was so like, no, didn't hear much about it. And
Yeah.
it just, I
The
think we're
field
just,
wasn't packed.
no,
Yeah, no.
we're just at World Championship season that I'm surprised this is even really a Pro Series, just because, 2 weeks to Nice, and I guess the women have a little bit more time, so it makes more sense there.
On the men's side, it was a little too close, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. On the men's side, nonetheless it was an exciting race, and we still saw the guy who won from Germany, Fabian Kraft, running a 109. Second place we had Gregor Payet, and in third place Nick Thompson. And yeah, like you were saying, Josh, not a super stacked field. We do had the likes of Kevin McDowell, Chris Leiferman, but yeah, it was like not that there is like a B tier race, but a lot of the guys are just focusing right now on Nice, and it gave the opportunity for other athletes to showcase their ability. And but then on the women's side, we had a stacker field. Obviously, Kat Matthews taking the win, and every time Kat does a race like this, I think she has her world champs mindset and paces, and her I'm just gonna cruise and win paces, which was what she did right here. So Kat taking the win in 4:08:50. Lisa Pierter and Solvi Lovset from Norway in third place. Yeah, we had again not the strongest field, but a way more solid field than the men's.
And welcome back, Steph Clutterbuck. So that was good to see her back racing as she's getting now targeting Kona, which she wasn't sure she was going to be able to get to earlier in the year with dealing with the putts. So hopefully that continues and she's on the right track. But yeah, you can see, I think that put Kat at what, like 120 or 220 points off of a perfect score for the year. But again,
like
that was check your box for the points in the Pro Series. So she's gonna walk away with the Pro Series again this year. You want to talk about risk versus reward paycheck?
Yeah, right now Kat Matthews is 14,880 total points in there.
Yeah, 120 off.
Yeah, Solveig Loveseth is next with just over 14,000, and the next isn't Lisa Pritter, and she's like 170 off of that. So, man, Kat's gonna be hard to beat. Like, she has to have a shocker at World Champs, either one of them, to do it. But it sounds like that's why she went into this race as well, was just to kind of have a cushion. So if something goes wrong at 70.3 Worlds or something, then she at least has another 70.3 on the board that can get some points from it.
Well, and you talk about 70.3 Worlds and a lot of the age groupers being shocked at the bike course. 70.3 Worlds just like fell right into Kat's hands with her descending ability.
Yeah,
strong bike rider. That'll be so good to see. Kat, it's going to be a wicked race over at 70.3 Worlds, which always makes it exciting. Sweet. I love seeing the Ironman athletes coming together with the 70.3 athletes and really battling it out with the different focuses, and especially on the men's side, because they have a lot more time to recover before 70.3 Worlds. Get that speed going again. I think that's going to be a really good showdown.
Yeah, absolutely. Women's side, yeah, there's not as much time between Kona and Marbella.
That's still that's a tough turnaround. It really is for an Ironman on its own, but then an Ironman in Kona, that's just a whole nother beast, just mentally, emotionally, and the conditions on top of it. Like racing world championships is a whole different beast than showing up to, any other Ironman. Yeah, you want to win and do well, but the world championships, that's the beast.
And then there's no off season too. So
No.
It all starts up.
And then we're back at Oceanside in no time.
Craziness. Well, let's go into some of our usual segments with What the F and social media post of the week. And I'll start off with What the F because this one has turned into a whole ordeal and it started a couple days out from the race. My What the F is Tommy Fury. He's I guess a boxer. He was one of the T100 ambassadors for the French Riviera race. And his whole thing was he was going into this thing, 10 days of training. He's going to go do a T100 race. And I don't know if you guys saw, but the drama started a little bit early where in the days leading up to the T100, as he's promoting that he's doing the race, you see him on his Instagram stories and he's hooked up to an IV, making sure he gets all his electrolytes and stuff going in. And actually if you're a casual triathlon fan or haven't looked into this, you may not know, but getting an IV is actually against the world anti-doping rules. Now, it doesn't matter what's the IV, they do have if you're under certain milliliters, then it's fine. But most of these IV packs are not under that amount. So if you go to one of these places to get electrolytes or B vitamins or whatever, it's against those rules. And it's not because of what's in the IV drip. It's because that can be used as a masking agent by kind of flushing through the system and stuff. So if you are doing any races with WADA or anti-doping in there, just know that is banned. So you are technically with it. So not a great look that the story before I'm doing this T100, you see him hooked up to an IV saying, hey. But it gets worse from there. We see all these videos from T100, and this guy's a big influencer. He's got like millions of followers. I think it was like 5 million plus or whatever. He's some reality TV star as well. You see him coming across the finish line with an interesting run stride. We'll say that. And gives this big speech like, yeah, he did it. 10 days of training, absolutely crushed this T100, crossed the finish line. But it turns out Marathon Investigations did a deep dive into those results and then On Your Left picked it up from there. And unless he did 120 kilometers per hour on his last bike split at the bike course, short. So if you look at it, he didn't make the swim cutoff. So he was technically out of it then. They let him go out on the bike and he did the loops around the bike course, but did not make the road closure cutoffs and then proceeded to do the run afterwards, cross the finish line, take his medal and go on and on about how he finished a T100 race. What do you guys hear? And at this moment, the posts are still up on T100 and his page celebrating his crossing of the finish line. What do you guys think before
I think that's the worst part is that like it continued to be promoted when T100 had already told him during the race that you are going to be allowed to finish, but you're DNFing. You're not going to be an official finisher. Yet everything in the social world, and it really his fame's from his brother Tyson, who's the big name boxer, and everyone knows who he is, and has had some really big success in the boxing world. Tommy's just kind of like the next guy, and he's his brother's partner, and become famous, and then literally 10 days out, I'm going to do a T100, and they've done this with their ambassador program before, but it's usually been successful and use some ambassadors that make sense for people to be inspired by. But there was nothing inspirational about what this guy did. You didn't really get to see any of his training in those 10 days either. I think there was like one workout on his Instagram page, and the other one was the IV drip. And it was like, if you're going to train for 10 days, I want to see all 10 days of training. What did you do in those 10 days? Like that's the content. And just to celebrate that finish line with his girlfriend or fiance or whatever she is, who's also a social media person, T100 is just totally capitalizing on those views. And that's unfortunate that it went down like that. And I'm glad it is out and known. I hope they find a way to correct it somewhat and remove the content.
Yeah. So here's what I think about the whole thing. I am all up for bringing ambassadors and big names to showcase our sport. I'm 100% always going to be all in for that. However, if you're saying you're going to be able to finish a T100 race with only 10 days of training, that's doing a disservice to the sport.
Great.
That's saying, oh, it's easy, everyone can do it. And just not thinking about people who follow you who may think that's a reality and who may put themselves in dangerous positions. Oh, if he did it in 10 days, I'm going to be able to do it in 10 days. And then they go do the race and God forbid something happens. So that's all like that's not good for the sport. And I think the T100 like handled it wrongly in social media way. Like if they would have to say, hey, Tommy didn't make the swim cutoff. However, we're going to let him finish to showcase that he's never giving up. He's willing to finish what he started. He's not going to have a finishing time, but we're going to let him finish the whole thing just because it's going to be big for us, like marketing wise. And then he's going to be able to tell people his story that this is a tough sport and that you cannot do it on 10 days of training. And that he might say, hey, I'm going to come back and do it properly.
Totally.
And then you have another event where Tommy is there again and then does the whole thing and not getting shortcuts and getting praised for something he didn't do.
And they did let other people in his situation finish the run as well. Obviously, we don't know who they were and we don't see them, but people that got pulled off the bike course were told that we're told that they could finish the run too because they've paid for the experience and all of that. But I agree with you, Fed. Like influencers, ambassadors are good for the sport because we're all looking for it to grow at the end of the day, and they're going to help get more people into the sport. But they need to know how tough it is. And that message would have been huge saying, hey, even Tommy Fury can't finish a race in 10 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
exactly.
So here's what the T100 came back to say. They said, due to our permit for the road closures in France, unfortunately, Tommy and some other athletes in the 100-kilometer amateur race were unable to complete the bike course before the time cutoff. However, given our philosophy to grow the sport and encourage new athletes, we wanted to give them as full of experience as possible. So they were all given the opportunity to do the 18-kilometer run and cross the finish line, although these times were not counted in the official results. Tommy bailed on the swim, which impacted his bike leg, but he was determined to continue and complete the 18-kilometer run. So, yeah, like you guys said, like it's so good to have these ambassadors, and you need to find that balance in the messaging between triathlon is something that is attainable for people without doing a disservice to the sport and saying it's easy that you can do it on 10 days of training with no background or any experience in anything, right? That's not aspirational. That's, like you said, it could, especially when we're talking this women's stuff. You're so right, Fede. That could put some of these people into danger because we have seen situations happen in the swim, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, hopefully they will course correct on the messaging there, and T100 will be a little bit more choosy with their ambassadors. We want to have people who will help grow the sport, and this is just not a good look all around. But let's move on with Josh's social media post of the week. What do you got for us?
A little more positive.
More
Fun to say. maybe Tommy Fury comes out with a video and talks about the struggles, and like great, that's a good way to fix it. But if you do want to watch a documentary on our sport and really get the idea of how much of a struggle it is for the pros, the Feed and Ironman Talbot Cox have put together a 12-part documentary that started last week with episode 1. And they're following 6 athletes over the 12 episodes. So the first episode was with Lionel Sanders. The second episode that dropped yesterday was with Cam Wharf. And those are the first 2. I've watched both of them. They're really well done. They're not long investments of your time. So less than 30-minute episodes and really, really cool, talking about their approach to getting to the World Championships this year. Obviously, we know Lionel will not be participating in Nice, as we mentioned earlier, but that's kind of the progression of the show and how they got to qualifying and train and obviously using the feed products and things like that is just kind of subtle within it. But really, really cool first 2 episodes, and highly suggest that. That is my social media content post of the week.
Awesome. I've got a longish run coming up on the treadmill here, and it's too smoky to run outside. So I'm going to go check that out on my run to keep me entertained and my mind off the fact that I'm on a treadmill again.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we've been chatting for a while here, guys. How about we save it for next week? We will do the rundown of the Ironman World Championship start list, because this start list is absolutely epic, and there's going to be fireworks over in Nice, and I cannot wait for it. So we will dive into all of that next week and go through all of the athletes racing and who we think is going to take the top step there, because we are about a week and a half out from the Ironman World Championships, which just sounds crazy to say in September again.
Wow.
Amazing.
Awesome. Thanks as always for joining me, guys, and we'll chat with you next week.
Awesome.
See you guys.